Hello students, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. Today I am going to teach you Unit 3 Taxonomy and Taxonomy of Mulberry. So taxonomy and macromorphology of genus morus. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy, that means in Greek taxonomy, taxo means arrangement and nomy means naming. That means naming a species is called as taxonomy. So here we are going to study the taxonomy of mulberry. So what is the use of taxonomy? It helps us to identify the species, and also it helps us to in the arrangement based on the similarities and the dissimilarities. So here taxonomy, the major characteristics of taxonomy, it helps in identification, it helps in classification. So here we are going to study the taxonomy of mulberry. Mulberry taxonomy. Taxonomy is a science of naming and classifying organisms. So here taxonomy, it is nothing but in a simple terms to explain, taxonomy is naming. Naming a species will help us to classify it under a group, under a family, and under an order. So here taxonomy is very important in science. So for the mulberry plant, we see the genus of mulberry is called morus. So understanding its taxonomic position is a very important for biodiversity conservation and also for the sericultural achievements. So this mulberry plants, depending upon, there are different types of mulberries, different varieties of mulberries are present. So how do we classify based on the variety? Just by having a name, we can identify the type of the variety, the type of mulberry and the variety of the mulberry using a name. Here this mulberry plant, it belongs to the family Moriaceae, which is characterized by the presence of milky latex, and it has a unique flower structures called as catkins. So this mulberry, this belongs to the family Moriaceae, which is characterized. How do we characterize the mulberry plant under a family Moriaceae? Because it has a special characteristics called, it has a milky latex that is present, and also it has a unique flower. That structure of the flower is called as a catkins. So if we see the mulberry in sericulture, as mentioned in the above earlier classes, the mulberry is an only sole food source, because mulberry, the silks will be feeding on the mulberry leaves. So the silk will be feeding on the mulberry. So mulberry foliage, it serves as an exclusive food source for the domesticated silkworms. That means this mulberry leaves, it is a primary food source for the silkworms. Silkworms, the Bombax mori, because the food that the silkworms eat, it will reflect the quality of the silk, and it also reflect the quality of the cocoon. It will also reflect the overall output of the silk. So here the food, the nutritious leaves will be helping, and it will be reflecting the quality of the silk. So it has a high nutritional value. Why? The mulberry leaves will be having a high nutritional value. So it will be having high protein and carbohydrate content. And also it will be helpful in the fast regeneration recovery even after pruning. Even after pruning, this mulberry leaves have an ability to regenerate all by itself within no time. That means it has a fast capability and ability to regenerate its leaves. So this global cultivation for silk industry, that means this mulberry leaves, as mentioned, majorly it has been grown in all the states, in India. There we see different types of mulberry, varieties of mulberries are being grown. There are many independent mulberry varieties are being grown, independent in silks are being grown in the in our India. So there are usually 5 types of present, and also here in the sericulture we see mulberry leaves plays an important role in the sericulture, as it is a primary food source for the silk. because if the mulberry leaves are healthy, it reflects the quality of the silk as well. If the big, and also mulberry leaves has an high nutritious values, hence this silkworms will be majorly feeding on the leaves itself. So it has a high protein, and also it will be having a high carbohydrate content in the leaves. Next we see the historical classification of the mulberry. As we are seeing the historical classification of the mulberry, there are many scientists, those people they helped in the defining the classification of the mulberry. We see Carl Linnaeus, he identified 7 primary species in 1753 using leaf and fruit differences as markers. So this Carl Linnaeus, he used leaf and fruit differences as a markers. So then we have a Edward Bureau, he constructed an exhaustive system in 1873 dividing the genus into distinct subgenera. Then we have Tekchi Hota, he has advanced classification that was made in 1954 through detailed morphological and epidermal studies. So the above 3 scientists, they helped in advancement of the morphology, advancement in defining, identifying, classifying the species. Then we have the systematic position of the mulberry. If we see the systematic position of the mulberry, this belongs to the kingdom Plantae division phanerogrammes, and it belongs to the subdivision Angiospermae and class Dicotyledonnae and family Moriaceae, and it belongs to the genus Morus. That means it is a flowering dicotyledon plant. This mulberry is a flowering dicotyledon plant. Then we see the Moriaceae family. As I mentioned, it belongs to the family called Moriaceae. There are very specific and the unique characters that have been identified and placed under this family. As I can explain that this family, the division and the identification and classification of the family is based on the features, is based on the characteristics and the identifications that have been present. So as this mulberry is placed under the family Moriaceae, we'll see the key characters of the family, the Moriaceae family. It is based on the presence of internal milky sap, that is latex. So it has an internal milky sap, it is called as latex, and it is simple alternative leaves are present with stipules. It is a unisexual flower, it is arranged in spikes or it is arranged in a heads, and then it is a small and inconspicuous perianth. It is a small inconspicuous perianth. Then fruits are form multiple, there are collectively different structures, there are different forms of fruits are also present. So these are the key characters which made this mulberry to be placed in the family called Moriaceae. Then we have the distinctive features of morus. The perennial woody plant, they can grow as small shrubs or large trees depending on the management. So I can see these distinctive features of morus. This plant, it can be in a small bushes, it can be in a small shrubs, or it can be in the large trees as well. So we see the phyllotaxy of this morus, genus morus. This is arranged in a spirally alternative pattern, that means 1/2 or 2/5 or 3/8 fractions. The growth habitat of it is, it has high capacity for branch production and its recovery after harvest. That means this growth habitat, if you see the growth habitat, the branches have a capability of regeneration even after the pruning. It has a fast regeneration technology. Right after the pruning, it can regenerate all by itself. Third, we have adaptability. This mulberry plant can be grown in different climatic condition, it can be grown in different soil types, and depending upon the different soil types and depending upon the different regions, there are different varieties that have come up. If you see, it can be grown in the tropical region, it can be grown in a forest region, it can be grown in different temperate region. Depending upon the area, depending upon the habitat, depending upon the soil, there are different types of mulberry that have been came out. We see this thrived in varied climates from temperate to the tropical regions. That means the variety of the mulberry has been dependent on the climatic condition, the soil type, and also the habit. And I can easily say in simple terms, it is majorly fixed on the habit and also on the habitat. Next we see different types of, as I'm telling you, there are different types of mulberries are present. We see Morus alba. Morus alba, it is a white mulberry. Morus alba, it is a white mulberry. It is native of central China. This is the most widely cultivated species for the sericulture. It produces thin, smooth leaves that are preferred for high quality silk production. It is known for its rapid growth and it is resistant to varied soil condition. This Morus alba, it is a white mulberry. It is a white mulberry. It is produced in a thin, smooth leaves. It contains thin and smooth leaves that is preferred to have a high quality of the silk production. So there is a rapid growth. It doesn't take a long time for its growth. It is a rapid growth, and also it has resistance to varied soil conditions. That means in different types of soil conditions also, no matter how the soil type is, no matter how the condition of the soil is, this white mulberry can be grown. Remember, this Morus alba is native of China. That means Morus alba, the genus name is Morus and the species name is alba. This in common we call it as a white mulberry. Secondly, we have Morus indica. This is a regional specialist. Morus indica is a regional specialist. It is widespread across the tropical region and also the temporal region of Asia. Specifically, it has been grown in India, and also it is high valued for its robustness and it is foliage yield. That means if you see the picture here, it has a broad and serrated leaves are present. It is, the lobes are evident of the younger plants. The lobes structures in the, you can see there are deeply lobed, it is deeply lobed and it has a young plants that are present. It is highly adaptable for the intensive pruning. No matter how intensive the conditions are, no matter how depth the conditions are, this is helpful for the pruning process as well. Thirdly, we see the commercial diversity. That means I have mentioned that there are different types of mulberries are present: white mulberry, black mulberry, Indian mulberry, and wild mulberry. Let us see their species name and their common name and their leaf trait. Here first we have Morus alba. It is a white mulberry. It is smooth, it is thin, it is high protein. This Morus alba, it can be useful in the rapid growth. Then we have an it is Morus alba, it is a native of China. Secondly, we have Morus indica, which is an Indian mulberry. As I mentioned, it is an Indian mulberry. It is used in the tropical region and also in the temporal region. It has a broad and the serrated hard leaves that are present in the young plant as well. Then we have Morus nigra. It is a black mulberry. It has a thick and a dark fruit that come out of a mulberry nigra. Then we have a Morus serrata. This is a wild mulberry which is used for a large and deeply, it is large and it is deeply serrated. Let us study the part 2, that is macromorphology. Studying this macromorphology, it helps us to examine the external organ system, including the growth, including the habitat, including the stem, buds, and specialized leaf architecture. That means macromorphology, it explains about the leaf, bud, stem, and rest things, external organ system. Next we have, firstly we have plant growth habits. Tree form. If you see, this plant can be in a small shrubs, it can be in a bushy forms, and also it can be in the large trees. So first one we see in a tree form. Naturally it is left alone. Mulberry can be grown into large trees within expansive canopies. Expansive canopies. That means this mulberry leaves, it can be grown in a larger trees. That means it is not specified to be a small shrub, or it is not specified to be a small bushy form, but also this mulberry plant can be grown huge like an expansive canopies, and this can be in the form of tree as well. Next we have a bushy form. In under management, if we see, these plants are kept at a low cut bushes for easier leaf harvesting. As we see, this mulberry, the major part of the mulberry is a leaf, right? As the silk will be feeding on the leaf, this bushy form is managed to be put under a management. That means it has been cut short under a restricted conditions. Why? Because for a easy leaf harvesting. Then we see the high adaptability. Plasticity allows the plant to thrive as medium sized trees or ground hanging shrubs. That means it has an adaptability. It can be adapted to be a shrub, it can be adapted to be a bush, it can be adapted to be a large tree as well. That means depending upon our requirement, depending upon our convenience, we can plan out, we can manage the tree of mulberry, because majorly the silkworms will be feeding on the leaves. That means the major important part for us is a mulberry leaf. As the silkworms will be feeding on the mulberry leaves, the major reason to keep the mulberry plant in a bushy form, because it can be easily harvested. That means the leaves can be easily harvested. Next we see that root morphology. If we see the root morphology, as the stem, as the mulberry leaves are important, even the root is very important. As we see, the root, this is a taproot system. That means this mulberry, it utilizes taproot system, which will provide both support and also deep water anchorage, deep water access for the mulberry plant. That means this taproot system will be providing as a good support for the plant. This root morphology, if we see, this root plays an important role for the strengthening of the plant and also for the support, mechanical support, and also the strengthening of the plant. Here if we see, it has a taproot system of the modification. If we see this, it gives anchorage, and also it helps for the deep water access as well. If we see, it has a vertical primary root for the deep soil penetration. It has a vertical deep soil penetration, and it is extensively lateral, and also tertially, if we see, it is tertially root network. It has a tertially root network. Secondary thickening results in a woody and dark orange bark. If we see secondary thickening, the primary root has been down and the secondary root will be coming up, and that root would be in a woody form and it will be in the dark orange in bark. Nextly, if we see stem morphology, that means as we have seen the stem, as we have seen the root, as we have seen the leaf, tree format, root format, now we are looking into a stem morphology. This stem is an aerial part of a plant. That means the part which we can see with our eyes, which is above the ground level, it is a stem. So we'll see the stem morphology. The aerial stem framework is upright and it is woody. It's showing distinctive nodes and internodes. In the stem morphology, if we see, this stem is in dark orange in color. It is a woody structure present above the ground level, and it is divided into nodes and internodes. It is divided into nodes and internodes. If we see the lenticels, the aerial framework, which will be upright, it will be a straight tree. It depends on us whether to put it as a bushy form or else in a small shrub, or else even to expand. It is under the managemental control. Now if we see the lenticels, prominent pores distribution over the bark that acts as an essential structure for the gaseous exchange. That means this lenticels will be helping for the gaseous exchange purpose. If you see the stomata in the leaves, those are the guard cells. That means it helpful for the transfer of the water droplets or helps in the gaseous exchange. Here in the stem morphology, we'll be seeing lenticels that are present, a prominent, a clear lenticels that are present, which will be helpful for the transport of the gaseous. That means gaseous exchange in the stem morphology is been done through the lenticels. Second, we see the branching pattern. We see this stem has a branching, that is a clear alternative arrangement. It is classified into erect, semi-erect, and also dropping habitat. That means the stem has a different types of a drop arrangement. That means it has an alternative type of an arrangement as well. That means this is present in the erect form. It can be sometimes it can be erect, sometimes it can be semi erect, and also it can be dropping habitat. Thirdly, we have bud classification. Buds. What are buds? Buds are nothing but these are the specialized embryonic shoot tips which are located within the leaf axils. Within the leaf axils, if you see, this is the stem. This is the stem, and it has an embryonic shoot tips that are located on the leaf axil edge. It is very important for the survival or during the dormancy. During the dormancy season, it is very important. This bud is very important. See, if we see, there are two types of buds that are present. One is an axillary bud, and then we have an apical bud. Apical bud, it is located at the tip of the branches, tip of the main branch. It helps us to control the vertical elongation. Increase in size can be done through the apical buds. And we see the axillary buds. If we see the axillary buds, they are found in the leaf petiole junction. This axillary bud is present in the leaf petiole junction. It is developed from the lateral branches. Next, we have a scale covering. If you see the scale covering, this scale covering, majorly the major function of this scale covering, it gives protection. That means buds are overlapped, or buds are enclosed by 2 to 5 overlapping leathery scale leaves which serve in a critical functions, which have a critical functions. It prevents from the internal desiccation. That means it prevents, this scales covering will be protecting from the internal desiccation. That means it before drying out, the scale covering will be majorly important. Next, if we see, it protects the delicate meristems from the frost and the cold. That means it helps even at an unfavorable conditions, at a bad conditions. Maybe if the temperature is cool, it protects. If the temperature is hot, it acts as a protective layer. No matter what the conditions are, no matter what the climatical conditions are, this scale coverings majorly protects the stem. Then ensure survival during winter dormancy. Even during the winters, it helps in the dormancy level. If we see the mulberry leaf, this mulberry leaf is very important in the sericulture. Why? Because it is a primary food source for the silk. This silks, they doesn't stay on the stem, they doesn't stay in the root system, or they doesn't stay on the scales, but it will be feeding on the mulberry leaves. What is a mulberry leaf? The leaf is a primary physiological and economic important unit in the plant. Its structure is optimized for high photosynthesis. Usually leaves also, here it is optimized for high photosynthesis. We see there are blades that are present. What are blades? It is also called as lamina. It is highly favorable. The condition of it can be ovulate, it can be caudate, or it can be lobed. If we see the petiole that is present, this is a semi-cylindrical petiole. It is grooved inside, and also if you see the stipules, there are some dedicacious structures protecting the young leaves. There are small stipules that are present which will be helping for the protection of the young leaves. We'll see this leaf arrangement. As mentioned, mulberry leaves, the silks will be feeding on the mulberry leaves. It is highly nutritious. It will be having high protein and carbohydrate contents that are present. We see the leaf arrangements. Majorly, if we see the leaf arrangement, it is of the veniation. The veniation of the leaf, it shows a distinct multi-cascade reticulate pattern. 3 to 5 primary veins emerges directly from the leaf base. If we see directly from the leaf base, there are many 3 to 5 layers, 3 to 5 primary waves are coming out, and it will be directing from the leaf base. This is not arising from the middle of the leaf, rather it has been arranged from the leaf base. Next, if we see the phyllotaxy, the arrangement in a spiral pattern. This phyllotaxy, it has been arranged in a spiral pattern, and to ensure optimal light capture across the canopy within the shading of the lower layers. If you see the bushes that are present under a tree, that means bushes are been meant to be kept under the tree, or else some shade will be fine, but this without any shading layers, this phyllotaxy has been protected, has been proved. If you see the conclusion, or in conclusion, and to summarize what all the topics have been mentioned, the systematic study of mulberry taxonomy and macromorphology, it gives us a scientific foundation for the sericulture. By understanding the growth, the habitat, the species diversity, we can clearly understand the yield, the quality for the silk production. Major important topic in the sericulture is taxonomy and macromorphology and internal structures as well. So taxonomy of mulberry plays an important role, because as mentioned, silk will be feeding on the mulberry leaves. As silk is been feeding on the mulberry leaves, what happens, it is a sole primary production. So if the leaf is healthy, the cocoon will be healthy, the quality of the silk will be healthy, everything related to the silk will be healthy, because the food that is going inside the silk is healthy, because the mulberry leaves is a high protein, high carbohydrated leaves that are being present in sericulture. This understanding, this classification, this identification of mulberry plants, mulberry leaf, mulberry stem and mulberry root will be helping us to improvise and in the advancement of the advancement of the sericulture. In this sericulture, by understanding the identification, classification of the mulberry leaves, mulberry plant, mulberry, like every structure that is present, every part that is present in the mulberry plant, it will be helpful in the advancement of the sericulture, and also it gives an accurate and the correct information to grow mulberry plants, and also it gives a good knowledge for the farmers as well as for the scientists to improvise the culture, to improvise the technology, to improvise the plant yield. So it is very important that mulberry leaves will be feeding on the silks will be feeding on the mulberry leaves. Hence it is very important to study and to identify the mulberry leaves and its structure and the classification of the mulberry. So this taxonomy has an important role. In the sericulture, study of mulberry plants, taxonomy of the mulberry plants plays a vital role in improvising the silk industry and in the sericulture. Thank you everyone.